In this video, I'm going to be giving some tips to get faster at 3x3. This video is mainly for people trying to get Sub-20 or Sub-15, and it assumes you already know the C-flop method. The first tip is to learn more efficient ways to solve F2L pairs. Now, I don't necessarily mean algorithms, although you could learn those for harder cases, but just finding less obvious, less intuitive ways to solve pairs. Here's what I mean by that.
So for example, if you have a case like this, where you have two pieces together and they're sharing a top color, but they're not like matched up like this, what some people do is they'll like split it up and put them back together, then put the pair in, is just put it so that you have these two here and the slot where it needs to go in the back, and just do an R, U prime, R prime to separate them. And then you can just do a simple insert like R prime, U prime, R, and then they're in. Another one is something like this, where you have the two pieces together, but this corner is kind of rotated, for example here. And then maybe instead of separating them like this and then putting them back together and putting it in, you can do something like this. You can separate them with an R, U2, R prime, and then you have something ready to be put in. Or you could have a case like this where you have two pieces together, but the corner's like twisted. And what I used to do for this case was separate them like this, and then pair them like this. But what you could do instead is this, where there's the same case here, but you split them up like this so that it's easier to put them in like this. Then there's this case with the edge here and the corner here that you can solve by doing R, U2, and that sets them up here, R prime to bring that cross piece back, and then inserting it like this. So there's a case like this where you could also do something like this, just pair them up and then insert. But instead what you could do is just do R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime, and that'll get the case in without any rotations. So another case is this one, and this one in my opinion was one of the hardest F2L cases before I learned this algorithm. So what you could do is move it over, then do R, U prime, R prime, U prime, and then you have pretty much the same case from before, where you can do R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime. And then you have this case solved. And there's one more case that I want to show, which is just this here and then this here. These colors are not the same. So either people will do this, like move it out of the way and pair it up so they can get it in. But another thing you can do is just do R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime. And then that gets the pair in. Now, there's a lot more of these cases. There's, I think, 41 of them, and they all have like their algorithms. Most of them are just intuitive, but those are some of the hardest ones that kind of need algorithms or just need another way of doing them than what you'd expect. But those are all I'm going to show in this video.
So I'm going to put a link to the site that I used to learn most of those F2L cases in the description, as well as a bunch of other different cubing resources, whether it's like algorithms or just other stuff I'll be going over in this video. But I'm going to be putting some 3x3 resources in the description. Now the next step after F2L is of course OLL. And another tip to getting Sub-20 or Sub-15 is to learn all the OLL algorithms. This might take weeks or months for some people like it did for me, but it can chop a decent amount of time off your solve. But another thing you can do to make your solves faster is controlling OLL edge orientation during F2L. So instead of getting that annoying dot case, you get something like this. Or instead of getting an L case, you get a full cross on top.
So for example, you have the last F2L pair already made, and you have two yellow edges paired up. So what you could do is they just put it in, and then they have a line case like this. What could actually get you the whole yellow cross on top is if you do a sledgehammer, F, R prime, F prime, R, and then you have the whole yellow cross. And then also works for this one, it doesn't need to be here, you just do a sledgehammer and get the yellow cross. And the same goes for when you have a dot case where none of the yellow edges are on top. You can just do a sledgehammer, and that's actually guaranteed to make you not have a dot case. I think either all the time or most of the time, I think it'll always be an L case, but at least it won't be a dot case.
But there's one more tip to get faster at solving the Rubik's Cube. Solving the Rubik's Cube. Some of the OLL cases or F2L pairs are going to seem awkward and unintuitive at first when you learn them, but with practice they'll improve your times. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more cubing content like this, and I'll see you in my next video.